Good morning, dear students. So once we have done with here, now let us see about the eighth cranial nerve, which is auditory nerve, also called as the vestibulocochlear nerve. As the name suggests, the vestibulocochlear nerve has two components. It has vestibular component, which is concerned with the control of mechanism of equilibrium, and cochlear component, which is concerned with the mechanism of hearing, right? So the vestibular component has special somatic afferent nuclei, okay? So which is like four vestibular nuclei which are situated in the pons and medulla oblongata. So usually you will see the position is pontomedullary junction. See, this is the section of brainstem. You have midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. So this is midbrain, this is pons, this is medulla oblongata, and the nuclei which has been shown like in dark blue color, this is the vestibular and the cochlear nucleus. So vestibular nucleus is for the sense of equilibrium. So from utricle, saccule, and semicircular canals, and cochlear is actually like again like it is like special sensory afferent nuclei, which are two cochlear nuclei, which is again situated on the inferior cerebellar peduncle. Inferior cerebellar peduncle is nothing but the connection between the medulla oblongata and cerebellum. It's also concerned with the mechanism of hearing from the organ of Corti. So you can see the nuclei over here, the vestibular nuclei, okay, which are shown in dark blue color. Okay, here also we can see, okay, the vestibulocochlear nerve. This is the brain stem where we have midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. So you can see at the pontomedullary junction, we have seen this as seventh cranial nerve, right? Nervus intermedius with seventh cranial nerve. The arrow has been shown. This is eighth cranial nerve, that is the vestibulocochlear nerve. Okay, so it carries special afferent fibers for hearing and balance and consists of two divisions like vestibular component for balance and cochlear component for hearing. The vestibulocochlear nerve attaches to the lateral surface of the brainstem between pons and medulla oblongata after emerging from the internal acoustic meatus and crossing the posterior cranial fossa. It is joining as a single nerve seen in the posterior cranial fossa within the substance of petrous part of the temporal bone. See, this is like we have, this is the cochlear tuns. We have like utricle and saccule over here. From here, you have the vestibular component coming. From here, we have the cochlear component coming. Okay. So, the vestibular nerves are actually joined by the cochlear nerve to form the vestibulocochlear nerve. They enter the pontomedullary junction near the lateral recess of the fourth ventricle, whereas the cochlear fibers split dorsally to reach the cochlear nuclei. The vestibular fibers split ventrally to terminate into vestibular, superior, lateral, medial, and inferior nuclei. The cerebellum, flocculonodular lobe. The flocculonodular lobe functions with the semicircular canals to detect rapid changes in direction, and few fibers also end in the reticular formation. So reticular formation is nothing but diffuse collection of gray matter what we see in the brainstem, that is midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. Now the functions of vestibular system, it has three basic functions. It provides information about movements of head and changes in the head position. This aids in coordinating the position of eyes, head and neck, and in providing sense of balance. Increases the tone in anti-gravity extensors to support the body against the pull of gravity. Holds eyes on target while head moves, that is the vestibular impulses. Counter roll the eyes against the direction of head movements to maintain fixation. So this is the vestibular system, what we have, like from the semicircular canals it starts, it passes through the vestibular ganglion, and then it is relaying in the medulla, passing through the pons, and then you will see it is going to the temporal lobe. The auditory pathway comprises certain relay stations. So we have spiral ganglion, okay, then superior olivary nucleus, this point. Okay, then complex, then trapezoid nucleus and nucleus of the lateral lemniscus. This is the trapezoid body and this is lateral lemniscus. Then we have inferior colliculus, which is the section which we see at the midbrain. Then medial geniculate body and then auditory cortex. So the pathway moves like this. Okay, so spiral ganglion, superior olivary nucleus, trapezoid body, lateral lemniscus. Then we have inferior colliculus, medial geniculate body, and auditory cortex. So spiral ganglion, here you will see the dendrites of the bipolar cells constituting the afferent fibers innervating the hair cells. Axons of these bipolar cells form cochlear division of 8th cranial nerve. The cochlear nerve ends in the cochlear nuclei in the medulla oblongata. The cochlear nuclei, the axons of the second order neurons from the cochlear nuclei, you will see actually pass medially in the dorsal part of pons. Most of them cross to the opposite side, as you can see here. Then, but some of them remain uncrossed. The crossing fibers of two sides form conspicuous mass of fibers, which is called as trapezoid body. Some crossing fibers run separately in the dorsal part of pons and some do not form part of the trapezoid body. So lateral lemniscus, third order neurons have their cell bodies mainly in the superior olivary complex made up of number of nuclei and also the trapezoid nucleus and nucleus of lateral lemniscus. The fibers of lateral lemniscus ascend to the midbrain, that is the level of inferior colliculus, and terminate in the inferior colliculus. The inferior colliculus and medial geniculate body, fourth order neurons have their cell bodies in the inferior colliculus where fibers of lateral lemniscus terminate. Fibers arising in the inferior colliculus enter the inferior brachium to reach the medial geniculate body. Fifth order neurons have their cell bodies in the medial geniculate body where most of the fibers arising in inferior colliculus terminate. Some fibers from the lateral lemniscus reach the body without relay in the inferior colliculus. Fibers arising in the medial geniculate body form the acoustic radiations or auditory radiations, which ends in the acoustic area of the cerebral cortex. Okay. Then, the major areas constituting the auditory cortex present in the temporal lobe are primary auditory cortex areas number 41 and 42, auditory association areas, areas number 22, 21 and 20. So the cochlear nerves, two nuclei we saw, that is the ventral cochlear nucleus and the dorsal cochlear nucleus, isn't it? So this the major input to the cochlear nucleus is from the auditory nerve, a part of the cranial nerve, that is the 8th cranial nerve, the vestibulocochlear nerve. Three major outputs of the cochlear nuclei is forming the auditory pathway. Okay, so suppose if there is the auditory pathway, what did we see from the this complete thing we have seen, that is the auditory pathway. So suppose if there is any lesion, so here at the level of the lateral lemniscus, you will see unilateral sensorineural hearing loss. Okay, here at the lesion A, and lesion B, bilateral suppression of hearing more on the contralateral side. So this is the auditory pathway explained in a different picture. So of course this actually the auditory pathway and auditory nerve is an important explanation usually we find with the physiology, and here there you will also study about different tests to check the auditory nerve, like we have Rennie's test, Weber's test, isn't it? Then different type of deafness also we so or the vestibulocochlear nerve, which is actually dealt in physiology, okay, less in anatomy. Thank you.